Hello and welcome to China Focus. I'm Shelley Zhang. Last week, information security company Mandiant released a study. It showed strong evidence that the Chinese Communist Party's military, the PLA, is leading large groups of hackers, and they have attacked large corporations and governments around the world. Now, what is China's strategic objective, and what's their endgame? Here today to talk about this, we have Chen Zhifei and Jason Ma. So the Mandiant report is pretty thorough. What did you think, Jason, when you first read that?
I think they just report most of people know. Only new thing is they clearly put a name behind the hacker, because this is something kind of like some reports said, it's not news. It's just the way they present the kind of their research result is somewhat kind of very interesting and make that, and also because the general kind of situation in US make this whole thing as a news. But again, I mean, it's the contribution of this report is now we know it's nobody can deny that Chinese government, or more specifically, Chinese military support national action.
Well, you say no one can deny it, but I've got the China Daily Weekend edition right here, and they're saying, the top article is called U.S. is playing up security threats, and they're saying, you know, that Mandiant report is false because it only relies on IP addresses. It shows that the attacks originated in China and that there's no way to, you know, trace an attack by the IP address.
That's where the Mandiant report fill in the gap, because in the past, the Chinese government always claimed that the U.S. government's allegation that they are engaged in kind of state-sponsored spy or cyber warfare is groundless, because technically you cannot do that.
You don't have
but the
proof.
Mandiant report clearly showed that there was a unit within the PLA, as I just described, that was specialized in this kind of service, because they have all kinds of technical data and proof.
Right.
I guess they came out of one specific location. They actually had the picture of the building, and when the BBC reporter tried to get in the building or take a shot of the building, it was stopped by the guards outside.
CNN also tried.
Yeah.
Right. I guess the key is if they know any technical kind of meaning of the report. I mean, Chinese kind of speakerman, and he should be shamed about what he claimed here. Yes, it's true. For one incident, you may not really kind of based on one IP and then claim somebody hacked you from that IP. But if you accumulate 6 years of information and constantly, repeatedly, and after tracking, not directly hacking, it's after they go to the compromised computer in US, and then basically the strategy for Chinese hackers is they are not directly hacked from China. They first compromise thousands of computers inside the US and then use that as a base to hack US company. And what Mandiant was doing is they found all those compromised computers. They went to the company or institute or university, tell them your computer is hacked. Can I sit in your computer, observe what people is doing? And then they sit on the kind of a hacked computer, observed the hacker's behavior, and then they constantly, almost always trace back to this Chinese military building. And so there is no way for them to deny this kind of thing for
well,
6 years.
How long can they keep denying, though? Because obviously they're
denying. Of course,
it.
if you keep denying, I don't think they dare to admit. I mean, admit means military
well, I
action
take issue with
country.
that. Actually, they openly admitted it, because the first point they made is, hey, we never do that. Next point is, hey, Americans do that all the time. So it means that it's fine for us to do that too.
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, I agree. I mean, their military website released a statement. They also have 2 points. First point is, we didn't do it. Second is, by the way, nobody defined what's the right way to collect information on the internet. So basically, their point is, I go to your hard drive, download terabytes, hundreds of terabytes of data, is in the green area.
So it's
not
okay.
like that I'm not doing it, but what I did didn't fall into category, you can call it whatever you want.
Right.
But I don't think it's theft.
We didn't hack you, but that's not hacking anyway.
Right,
so,
right.
Okay, so there was an interesting article a few weeks ago that was talking about Chinese business practices, and it was called, from the AP, called, China plays by its own rules while going global. And it was arguing that, China basically wants to compete in this global marketplace, but they want to do it on their terms. Now, it's kind of the same for this kind of information control issue, isn't it? Like, they want to, have their companies like Huawei and ZTE, they want their telecommunications companies to go out and become providers to the US and things like that, but they want to still,
I think I see your
do this
point.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I think there is no holistic national strategy when it comes to information collection, gathering, and sharing. I guess when you look at the Chinese regime, a lot of things that outsiders don't know about it is that it's very balkanized. Every department or every organization has their own self-interest. For instance, on the issue of cyber hacking, I think it's probably because the General Staff Department's PLA or Intelligence Gathering Unit wanted to have more funding from the department. They have to show their accomplishments by hacking into American computer network so that they can have the bragging right, hey, this is what I did. Give me more money, I can do more. But on the other hand, there are also companies that really wanted to tap into the US market. They probably were not as enthusiastic about some other people who are doing
But
it.
I have to say, a company like Huawei, you really why US was constantly have an issue with Huawei, because this company is so mysterious, the background. And indeed, I summer interned in Huawei.
Really?
I met yeah. So basically, the point is that this company started by a person with military background. Nobody knows anything about where he got his funding. And he is in the business of the most crucial business of the information connection, this kind of device. So I guess some people even consider that's a long-term strategy of Chinese military to implement this kind of hardware into all the countries they can. So that's the reason it's a legitimate kind of a reason U.S. government is suspicious about what hardware.
Well, let me ask, do you think that this is a top-down strategy, like the hacking, the trying to find information? Is this something that, from the top, from the Politburo Standing Committee, they want to do this, or do you think this is like the PLA acting on its own?
I think definitely it's probably initialized by PRA, the military, but it definitely gave green light by very top leaders, because especially after this event. I don't think if they can do that by military alone, but after this event, definitely Chinese central government, the top leaders, the Politburo, the Standing Committee, they definitely know it because of all the news coverage. If they keep doing it in the future, I think you have to connect this with the very top leader in China.
Do you think there's an overall strategy to this, like how they're approaching it? It seems from the Mandiant report that
I know that the procedure, the general procedure is they do have a clear campaign. For example, recently if there is kind of a South Asian country have a meeting, they want to know what is happening in the meeting. The first thing is the intelligence collection. They collect anyone related to that meeting's email, personal email, and their email behavior, like who they contact, what kind of language they are using. And then the second is the phishing part. The phishing part is they send all kinds of email, which is act like your friend's email with either some software attached as attachment, like Word file or PDF file. When you click it, the malware inside the Word will kind of hack your computer. Or they give you a link, ask you to click, and then you click to the link, and then the website compromises your computer. That's the second stage. The third stage is the information collection stage. Once they compromise your computer, they begin to either automatically send what's in your computer, you use email to their email box, or they can do by really logging into your computer, observe what you are doing, the information collection procedure. So basically, these three steps are kind of constantly used in almost all the kind of hacking activities, but it can only be done by a country, because the first stage, the information collection stage, is require a lot of detailed intelligence work, and that's not the kind of Carol hacking can do it.
You're saying a group like an anonymous wouldn't be able to just go and find all these people.
Right. Find out what is. You asked me to find out who is participating in this South Asian country meeting and who is kind of doing and what's the person, what's their friends, what's their family, and you like me to find it out. I cannot do it, but a Chinese intelligence institute they can do it.
So, do you think that there's an overall okay, what are they trying to achieve here?
What they're trying to achieve is very comprehensive, not just to get industry level, espionage level kind of data, because as we know, as experts have testified, it remains to be the most effective way for people to steal intellectual property when you physically install some people at a certain Western companies or production facility to get the data. A long distance hacking actually is not that effective because we're talking about teragigabytes, tons of data. It's very hard to sort through. However, I just noticed that when you look at hacking, it's not confined to the commercial data gathering. A lot of it is motivated by political objectives. For instance, a recent Washington Post report has found out that almost every law firms, lobby firms, political donors, staff members working on the Capitol Hill have been hacked. Because the motive behind all this orchestrated effort is to find out how Washington works. Because that has been a conundrum facing the Chinese government. They really want to leverage the knowledge so that they can gain some political advantage when they deal with politicians in Washington.
So the targets to these attacks, they seem like very varied. Like they're all different kinds of companies, organizations.
According to this report, they said that there are the report is focused on one group called APT1. Indeed, there are more than 20 that kind of group active in China. They all kind of somewhat supported by Chinese government. In this one particular group, their attacking kind of target is about around 150 institutes, cover 20 different industries. And indeed, this is their day job. And they have all this kind of assignment, like there is when they know there is a deal between two companies or three companies. China want to get in and want to know what's kind of each company's like bottom line. They will start a campaign and then target those companies, find out each company's bottom line. So they do have all kinds of military, political, and business kind of interested. Based on different interests, they have started different campaigns.
So it seems mostly like what they want is information. Like that seems like the overall, objective to just grab that.
I think this actually, this is probably somewhat different from the opinions, public opinion here we heard in the West. I think it's very much a sign of insecurity and passivity because they were worried about what the United States would do when it comes to China's interest because the regime feels very insecure. So they knew they didn't have good reputation. They knew they're ideologically bankrupt. So they really want to know how they can come with a better strategy to counter the offensives, to counter the influences that are not that friendly to the regime in the United States.
One of the things, because it seems funny, because if you read the New York Times report on the Mandiant report, it seems like one of the things that they said is that the attacks have ramped up in the last year or two. And one of the things that they brought out that seems to worry a lot of people is the issue of like infrastructure. Like they're going into U.S. power grids, U.S.
That will be the most critical turning point. I mean, U.S. government just kind of released the information. They said they know this group for years. I mean, they didn't really act on this group. Probably they are still observe like how much kind of they can reach, how much threat they can have. But Obama already admitted, like if 10 years from now, U.S. power grid was attacked, people will ask why you are not doing it today. A lot of focus is about next level. Basically, if there is any serious conflicting between China and the U.S., can they use their current compromised computer inside the U.S. Attack U.S. power grid and kind of parallels the whole U.S.
So do you think this is kind of like this is something that people will go back to doing business as usual after a report like this comes out? After there's a U.S. company called Muddy Waters, and after they kind of like exposed a lot of shady Chinese business practices, it kind of was hot for a while, but then it seemed like it kind of died down, and everybody went back to, investing in Chinese companies or investing in China. So it seems like this.
Already some Chinese American firms are leaving China because of their internet hacking activities, also because of their poor infrastructure induced by such activities. For instance, the internet speed is very slow in China because they have to filter out all the information.
Right. But I think probably anything happening in this country, U.S., is definitely slow. You can't, because it's built by the general mass opinion. Changing mass opinion take time. So I guess this will be one of the building blocks to make this change. But I don't think this will dramatically kind of cause any kind of consequence to China, like from now on nobody's doing business with China. But it definitely will be a building block to push U.S. to certain
Well,
direction.
just add one more thing. I think politically, probably it's even more damaging to Chinese regime in comparison with the information value of the news they gathered, because it's really draw a line in the sand that China is a potential rival. China is sneaking on us, their peeps on us, and try and watch over their shoulder. That's really having a long-term effect to public opinion and the general perception of China in the international community.
Okay, well, thank you both for joining us today and talking about this issue. And thank you for watching. For more on this and other issues in China, join us at ntd.tv.